Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Oils in Action class. Tonight, we're going to talk about a subject dear to our hearts, and that's our furry family. So, I'm going to share my screen and start the presentation. We don't want that. We want this. Essential oils and pets, our furry family. We seek natural wellness for ourselves, so why not share that with our furry family, our pets? It can provide wonderful benefits to pets as well. And by the end of this class, you'll feel empowered to be able to use essential oils and natural solutions with your pets, as well as share this information with others that may be wondering the same things you are. First thing we should discuss is safety. I have to say, this is one of the most important things because surprisingly, maybe to some of you, cats and dogs are much more sensitive to smell than humans are. You'll see this slide that mentions the olfactory receptors are so much more than humans. And my husband and I were watching a Discovery Channel show last week about training dogs to sniff out narcotics at airports and border crossings. And they described their acute sense of smell as being able to identify one drop of a smell in 20 Olympic size pools. So they are super, super sensitive to smells. So we want to just mention to not overwhelm their system, always dilute, and please don't ever put the oils directly on their noses because they're very sensitive. So let's talk about what essential oils are safe for pets. This is just a highlight of some of the most common ones. It is not all of them, but universally, the ones that are unsafe are birch, wintergreen, and tea tree because their bodies cannot process, the liver cannot process these oils properly. So we don't want to use those, but there's safe oils and there's more than these six shown, but those are very common ones. The ones to use with caution are considered hot oils. We would use them with caution ourselves. I really don't reach for these very often unless it's an acute issue, except for the On Guard. So we'll talk a little bit later about how you can find out which ones you want to reach for with your pets as well. But the key is how you introduce the oils to your pets. The acronym is SLOWLY. Self-selection. Let your pet have a little bit of observation about this and present it and see how they react with the lid on. Have it closed and let them see if they have a preference to whatever oil you might be wanting to use for them. You might want to be using one to calm them, or you might want to use one for stress or some other concern. And then observe their reaction. Once they do have a response to an oil, a positive response, observe them, watch them for at least 10 minutes to see how they react. Some animals don't respond at all. They don't mind it. It doesn't bother them. They don't respond one way or the other. But also remember, less is more. Just minute amounts, dilute and gradually increase the oil usage if you need to, but always start with less, especially for smaller pets. And then it's your turn. Choose 3 oils you think your pet might like and start slowly, dilute, and always make sure your pet can leave the room if they need to. And if you do this slowly, you're going to see a better reaction with your pets in response to the use of essential oils. So let's talk about aromatic. Aromatic application is a beautiful way to use the oils because it really has a calming effect and it's easy to use without interacting with them directly. There's some simple guidelines you want to follow when you're using it aromatically. A water-based diffuser with just 3 or 4 drops of oil. You don't need a lot. of essential oils to be able to have a benefit for them. It doesn't overwhelm their senses, and always, again, make sure that they can leave the room. I have cats, and they never seem to have a problem when I diffuse the oils, no matter where it is in the home. For different types of pets, keep in mind some specific considerations. Cats and small animals like birds are more sensitive, so use fewer drops or keep the diffuser at a further distance from you. Dogs usually tolerate aromatic use of essential oils very well, but still, it's important to watch their reaction. My cats don't respond at all when I diffuse, but at night, when I put the oils on me to go to bed, that's when they get up. They may be curled up next to me. That's when they get up and lay at the foot of the bed or go over and lay on the cat tree. So again, let them have that freedom to be able to move away when they are not thrilled with a certain scent. But then what about topical use? Went the wrong direction, sorry. Let's talk about topical application. This is a wonderful way to target certain areas that we can support our pet's health. And these are really good recipes for topical application for smaller animals and larger animals. So you might want to take a screenshot of this. Keep in mind, a little goes a long way, and proper dilution is essential to safe use of the oils. So you might want to massage the oils along the spine, or pet them along the spine. It's a common area that pets are used to being touched anyway. Another spot's the ears, but only do that if your pet's comfortable with it. And never apply essential oils inside the ears, just like humans. It would only be on the outside area of the ear. And if your pet likes massages, you can use essential oils in a gentle massage and focus on areas maybe they have stiffness or something like that, or tension. This really strengthens the bond with your pet and you, and also supports their health naturally. Again, always dilute and avoid sensitive areas like the eyes, nose, and mouth. Don't ever put the oils there. And keep in mind too, topically, that essential oils are photosensitive. Some of them are, especially the citrus oils, not all of them, just the citrus oils especially. You want to use those with cats, but with dogs, keep in mind, if you're applying it topically, that they could get some skin sensitization in the sun. So you want to always think about that. And if you'd like to have some reflex points where you could apply the essential oils for systemic benefit, this is from one of the reference books. And it's really beneficial, just like humans. We have reflex points on the bottom of our feet. These are the hind paws that really have a benefit in applying in these locations for different areas that you want to support. The touch oils are a beautiful line because they're already diluted, ready to use, but you can dilute yourself as well, just putting fractionated coconut in the palm of your hand along with whatever essential oil you're wanting to use. Now, let's recap on safety because this is really important. You want to always dilute before topical use. You want to be sure your pet is healthy. If your pet has some kind of health condition or concern, you want to really check with your vet or do some research first before using the oils. They're very safe, but of course, if they're dealing with kidney failure or they're dealing with some cancer or something, you want to be sure that you're working with their bodies. Don't use the oils near sensitive areas. Be careful with pregnant, nursing, or young animals, as well as any that are on medications. You want to be sure. A lot of the reference books, which I'll share in a little bit, have suggestions about avoiding certain oils, for example, with dogs that get seizures. So that's something you want to do your research on. And don't use products containing xylitol. That's toxic to pets. Always observe your pet's behavior. But here's some examples of doTERRA products that contain xylitol. We don't have the Slim and Sassy gum anymore, but that list of items you would not want to use on your pets. Did you know doTERRA has a veterinary advisory board? That top QR code will take you to the link or link you to the page on the website that has the list of experts in this field, and they give doTERRA and us guidance on how to work with our pets naturally and safely with essential oils. This graphic is from the essential oil vet. That's Dr. Janet Rourke, and she is one of the scientists, doctors, vets that works with pets and advises doTERRA. The lower QR code is a link to a interview she did with Dr. Brannick Rigg just this year on how to use essential oils safely around pets. And it's only 10 minutes, but it's very enlightening. So I highly recommend you take a look at that if you have the time. So then let's talk about internal use of essential oils. It's not always easy to get our pets to take things that we know will help them. So maybe you've had to do this with some medications in the past, put it in a dropper or put a drop on their treats. There's other ways you can use them. The bottom of the paw, as we just discussed. One of the things that was mentioned in the research I did was about, for example, putting them on, on a syringe and putting a drop in there. So if you have a way to get them to use it internally, it's safe. But again, everything we're talking about in this discussion is using doTERRA's pure oils, no others. But they do benefit nutrition and digestive support. Let's not forget that. We think of that in our own health, but essential oils and natural supplements can really benefit our pets as well. Common ones that are used are Digestin and Tamer. You can use it in the dropper bottle, the Digestin, just a 15 milliliter bottle, and put a drop in their water or on their belly, whatever. But it's already pre-diluted in the rollers. I have a Tamer roller in my kitchen where I feed my cats, and I grab that when I need to, when they've maybe had a digestive problem somewhere that morning, or I see them eating grass and I know something's going on. So it's very safe to use. Probiotics and enzymes are very helpful. And omega-3s, obviously, that helps with the coat and the joints, shiny coat, cardiovascular health, healthy skin. So you could measure out dosage according to your pet's weight. And there's references that you can find on that. And beware of putting toxins into your pet's food. There's a lot of additives and colors and fillers in pet food today. So really try to pay attention to that, because that can cause a whole host of digestive and skin problems with our pets that we may not even be aware of. You'll help enhance your pet's health from the inside out if you pay attention to that. And then if you're a DIYer, you might enjoy this. A dog food recipe that's healthy and natural with using natural supplements, the collagen, the pumpkin, potatoes, rice. So if you're a DIYer, you might want to take a screenshot of this page as well. What about rest and sleep? That's so important for them to have a calm, relaxing environment. So easy go-tos are lavender and serenity. Lavender just is one of the most common known oils for relaxation. And you can diffuse that and create a nice atmosphere in the room, or maybe serenity, because that combines lavender with Roman chamomile and ylang ylang. But diffusion is often the most gentle and effective option for our pets in this area. So you could add 3 or 4 drops to your diffuser and just make sure they can leave the room, and they'll be resting in no time. Keep in mind too that pets can pick up on our emotional state. So we want to be sure that we're using oils on ourselves if we're agitated or stressed or wound up when it's time to be calming. And that will impact our pets too. Speaking of stress and anxiety, we need to think about a predictable, calm, comfortable environment for our pets. A lot of them get anxiety before going to the vet or going somewhere different that some have abandonment issues. There's a whole lot of reasons why change in environment can impact our pets, but we want to be sure that we can have something natural to reach for. So adaptive and balance are beautiful choices. Adaptive it's a blend of oils with lavender, magnolia, and others, but it can be diffused for 20 or 30 minutes. And then you could also apply it topically by petting your pet. And it really can help calm them very quickly. Copaiba is another beautiful choice because that can be used aromatically or topically. It's very soothing, and you can rub it on areas like the back or the chest to help them calm. When you're choosing to use oils for relaxation, keep it short and watch your pet's reactions just so that they don't all respond the same, and you want to be sure that they're having a positive experience with it, because then you'll know that you can continue using it. And again, remember, pets are very sensitive to our moods and our stress. So let's be sure that we're creating a calm environment if we want them to be calm as well. Movement and joint health is so essential. Our pets need exercise to keep their joints flexible and moving and keeping their vitality. So it's especially important for older pets, aging pets, to be able to have that joint health. So Copaiba is a beautiful one. It's one of the top oils to use for the joints or sore muscles. And if you're going to use Copaiba topically, dilute 6 to 8 drops in 2 teaspoons of carrier oil for dogs, or 2 to 4 drops for cats. And then gently massage it over the muscles or joints that you're trying to support. And it can also be used orally as well. If your dog is over 30 pounds, maybe a larger dog, then you could give them a Copaiba soft gel with their food once or twice a day. But if they're smaller, maybe dip a toothpick in the Copaiba bottle through the orifice reducer, and then add that to their wet food or something so that they can get that internal benefit as well. Turmeric is also really beneficial, especially in joint health. So for dogs and cats, you can dilute it over sore joints, or you could use the capsule for larger dogs if they have that need. And along with essential oils, remember that exercise is just as important as rest. It keeps their joints and muscles flexible and easier recovery. An important consideration is reducing the toxic load in our homes. Think about the surfaces that our pets touch. They're walking on the floors. Maybe they are having surfaces that they sniff or touch or lick. We don't want to be using toxic products in our home, just as we're trying to eliminate those things for ourselves. It's super important for our pets. And airborne toxins can also affect the pets. So it's beneficial to diffuse and support and purify the air so that that is eliminating toxins in the home. Lemon can cleanse toxins from the liver, as we know for ourselves. And that's really beneficial for dogs as well, not for cats because it's a citrus, but yeah, for the dogs, it's really helpful. Keep in mind, examine what's in our cupboards and under the sink and what we're using for laundry and home cleaners. It's an ongoing process. We don't do this overnight, but you'll be surprised at the impact it can have on our pet's health when we make these big improvements. We're going to have an interview in a few minutes that will discuss that in more detail. Accidents happen, so why not have a natural solution? Here's some DIY recipes if you want to take a screenshot of this, because these are beneficial. They're easy to use with our pets and not harmful, but they're really beneficial for cleaning in a natural way. And then always consider proactive veterinary care. That is really helpful because it's a proactive approach to taking care of our pets' health. And just like we do, pets benefit from regular checkups. So essential oils can complement veterinary care and support wellness between visits. Frankincense is versatile and it can support the immune system or reduce stress, help with occasional aches. You can apply it diluted or maybe even put it internally on their treats or something. On Guard also benefits the immune system. You can diffuse that. Lavender or adaptive before pet visits because that can cause a lot of stress. When they go in the little kennel or the crate to go to the vet in the car, they don't know what's happening and they get worried or stressed. So whatever you can do to keep them calm and make it a positive experience. And always consult your vet on any of these things. It's nice to be able to work closely with a vet who understands and supports natural solutions alongside traditional care. And then continue learning. Make informed choices when you have the references. So here's an example of some of the tools available to us. Many of you have the Essential Life book. Well, it has a whole section on pets, but all of these references I have and I've used over and over and over. They're very helpful, especially when you're dealing with something more unique and specific, because these are written by the experts, the vets and the scientists who know about all these things. And that gives you confidence. So take advantage of the resources we have. doTERRA on the website has podcasts and video recordings on the YouTube channel that you can watch. So take advantage of it and become educated, and you'll have such a benefit. You're going to start slowly, observe your pet's reactions, consult a vet when you need to, because our pets bring us so much joy, and it's incredibly rewarding to give them back by giving them the best, healthiest life they can possibly have. So let's remember, essential oils are safe and beneficial for all our furry friends. We just need to do our research and understand the guidelines on how we can use them safely with all of our pets. And just a reminder, if you like sharing information with your friends and family, give them your link so that they can also get their membership free, and you will get doTERRA dollars back, 20% of their first purchase to be able to use for yourself. And we'll talk about this a little more through the month, but the promotions for this month, you get a 5 milliliter bottle of frankincense with your 125 PV order. So keep that in mind. That's a beautiful benefit. And a rose touch oil for a 200 PV oil order. So keep in mind, there's a lot of specials this month that are unique, but I'm going to stop sharing and I want to open this up to Valerie, because Ms. Valerie's been using essential oils in her home and with her pets for years now, probably almost a decade. And Valerie, you have a very powerful experience. I would love for you to share what your situation was when you first got introduced to doTERRA, and then the impact that had on your furry family.
Okay, thank you. Is the volume okay, Lisa?
Yes.
Very good. Well, hello, everyone. But before I begin, I want to thank Lisa for the wonderful resources and books and the presentation she just did. There are so many excellent references available for people who want to learn more about the natural solutions for supporting the health and the well-being for our pets. And I have almost all of those books, so it's been a real helpful. At one point, we actually had 10 cats, so we're a cat house. But what I'd like to talk about tonight is a little bit of a different perspective. Because when people hear essential oils and pets, the conversation often focuses on the potential risks of essential oils. The cautions are important, as Lisa just pointed out, and we should absolutely use essential oils responsibly and around, especially when around our animals. But my question is this: why do we spend so much time talking about essential oils and so little time talking about the synthetic fragrances that surround our pets every day? My interest in this topic began with my own personal health mystery. In 2014, I completely lost my sense of smell and taste. I could still tell if something was sweet or sour, but there was no flavor and there was no aroma. I could breathe perfectly fine, but my senses were simply gone. The doctors couldn't figure it out, and they basically said my olfactory receptor was damaged and that they couldn't fix it. So it was like, but the experience led me to discover doTERRA and eventually helichrysum, the essential oil, which became part of my journey toward regaining my sense of smell. And but once my senses started returning, I became curious about something else. What happened in the first place that caused this? As I began researching, I started looking around my home with a fresh set of eyes. At the time, I had plug-in air fresheners from Bath and Body Works, Yankee candles, scented laundry detergent, dryer sheets, scented dish soap, shampoos, lotions, cleaning products, you name it. But many of them are marketed as lavender scented or naturally scented. But when I looked more closely, I discovered that most contained no actual lavender at all. Instead, they listed ingredients such as fragrance or parfum, terms that can represent complex mixtures of chemicals. So my husband and I decided to look for more natural alternatives. We went from store to store reading labels, but what surprised us was that even many products marketed as natural or green still contained fragrance or parfum. So it was surprisingly difficult to find products as a cat just jumped up on me, to find products on store shelves that were truly free of synthetic fragrance or additives. So eventually we began making some of our own cleaning products using doTERRA essential oils because we wanted to know exactly what was in them. And at that time we had 6 cats. But looking back, one thing that strikes me is that our cats rarely lived beyond the age of 14. We had had 2 cats with ongoing health concerns. One suffered from chronic sneezing, another developed seizures. Now, I want to be kind of clear here. I can't tell you that synthetic fragrances caused those problems. I don't know that. But I do know that our cats were exposed to the same environment we were. It caused me issues. So actually, they were exposed to it more than we were because those plug-in room fresheners were at cat level, in the walls, and they walked across and then they would, go by them all the time and cause them to poof, and then they would walk across my clean floors that I use Pine Sol, and they groomed themselves and licked their little paws. So wherever their paws went, that went into their mouth. And I actually remember one time I caught one of my cats licking the shower floor right after I had cleaned it. So that moment kind of changed how I thought about our home environment. So today, the research tells us that fragrance products contribute to indoor air pollution, air fresheners, candles, laundry products, cleaning products. Lisa went through a lot of that concern. But they've also found that many consumers don't realize how many fragrance products they use every day or exactly what's contained in those fragrance mixtures. So when people ask me whether essential oils are safe around pets, I think it's an important question, but I think it's equally important question is what else are our pets being exposed to every day? So over the years, we've removed the plug-in air fresheners. I've got the doTERRA ones now. and with ones that are safe for the kitties. And we've reduced the synthetic fragrances throughout the house and are much more intentional. But can I prove that those changes are why several of our cats are now approaching 20 years of age? Okay. No. But can I prove that the changes are why I regained my sense of smell and taste? No. But I can tell you this is that it's now been 11 years since I lost those senses. And today I can still smell and I can still taste. And several of our cats are approaching 20. And so it was reducing the synthetic scent load in our home part of the story. I honestly don't know, but it was the single biggest environmental change we've made. And it taught me to pay more attention, closer attention to what we bring into our homes. So I'm not suggesting that every synthetic fragrance is dangerous. And I'm not suggesting that every essential oil is automatically safe. What I'm saying is that when we look at the whole environment, because our pets don't choose the air they breathe, they don't choose the products used on the floors they walk across, they don't choose the cleaners, the candles, laundry products. Our pets can't choose the environment. We choose it for them. So
That's
that's
beautiful.
kind of
Yeah.
my story.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That is a powerful example. Yeah. It has an impact. And over that many years, how much cumulative impact. So thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that.
we have no other data to
Hmm.
explain
Hmm. The
the good
improvement.
stuff that's going on,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
including me, stuff
Hmm.
like that. So,
Yeah, you're a walking testimony. Thank you for sharing that. So, Amanda, were there any questions during the presentation tonight?
I put a few comments in about you talked about using treats or putting oils on treats. I give my dogs copaiba cookies every day, just little baked stuff. We call them little stuffies. And with the drop of copaiba, my one little dog deals with collapsed trachea, and she would start doing this wheezing thing. So we started using copaiba, and we've noticed it has increased or it has diminished quite a bit. So because she was kind of doing that almost every day, we're like, what is that? And then once we figured out what it was, best thing I could figure was copaiba's a good healer. So I started using that and she's a lot better. Um,
That's great.
yeah, so I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. And the touch line, I use those on my dogs. Jen Hoagie did mention, you did say the Meta or the Slim and Sassy gum's gone. We do have the Meta Power gum, but that has xylitol as well. Your dogs don't want your gum. They don't want that. So they shouldn't be getting a hold of that anyway. So
Right.
make sure you keep those products out of the way. I mentioned for our cat, he has a nervous bladder, and we've gone through a lot of vet bills and dealing with that. And we get nervous, we put balance in the litter box because it's a little aromatherapy for him. I'm not putting it on him, but I'll put it in the litter box. But I have also successfully treated, he had a wound. Looked like he had a little bit of cat scratch battle. And using lavender and helichrysum, cleaned it. And most people have to, will run their cat to the vet for that. Trying to remember an abscess. It was an abscess. I took care of that. And then I mentioned, in addition to what we were talking about, what Valerie was talking about with the cleaners, Swiffer cleaners are horrendously toxic for animals. All those chemicals, and they walk on them and lick their paws. So when I go to home, I go into people's homes for work, and I see that it. I have to hold it back because of all the chemicals people have in their house, and they're full of all these beautiful animals. And I know the animals are getting slowly poisoned with all that stuff, but it's,
Mhm.
I have to
Yeah.
be careful what I say. So, and Pudge is raising her hand right now.
Yes.
All right, Pudge, go for it.
I have a 6-year-old tuxedo cat. She's beautiful. I love her. She's got a beautiful coat, bright eyes, but she's extremely overweight no matter what I feed her. And I've had her to the vet a couple times, and they just say she's robust. And that's one problem.
Oh, wow.
And she's just fat. But also, when she goes out, she's very sensitive to mosquitoes, and they bite her nose on the back of her ears, and it gets all crusty and all bad. And I have to keep her in because I don't know what else to do with her. She likes to go lay in the grass, but her nose is a mess. And I kind of around her eyes. And the first vet I took her to, they blacklighted her, all this stuff, blah, 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 and all this money put into it. And someone, a retired vet that's very knowledgeable said, no, that's from mosquitoes. So any suggestions? how do I treat it?
Mm.
I might want to check with, I think in one of Janet's books, but I actually was using Terra Shield. Again, like Lisa said, with a little bit of the coconut oil, and I would put it on the nape of the neck. And
Mhm.
I was using that as a tick and a flea repellent.
Yeah, I've used that
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
I have the spray,
Yeah,
with
spray it on your
Terra in it.
hands, spray it on your hands, on your
I
fingertips.
spray it when she goes out the door. She doesn't like it at all, so I give her a quick squirt when she heads out the door if she gets to go out, and it doesn't seem to help.
Oh,
She's um
Well,
I don't
you got to do it on the back of the neck. Except for, first
yeah,
of all, someplace they can't lick.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Well,
But
she's so fat she can't reach the back of her neck. So
What
um
Valerie's saying is the back of the neck, like if you ever do, if you've ever used, which in the past I know I did, traditional flea or tick treatment for animals, what you do is you part the fur at the back,
yeah,
like between their shoulder blades, and that's where you squeeze all that garbage chemical is on them.
yeah.
So that's where it's generally
you
applied
may want
because
to
they
use the
really can't
straight
get to it.
TerraShield and not the
That's what I'm
spray.
thinking is if you can,
I get it when she's going out the door, and I give her a quick down
that's not
because she
enough.
hates it.
part the
Okay, all
fur,
right.
part the fur behind between her shoulder blades, and maybe just with coconut oil on your finger and a drop on your finger, rub it into her fur there and get it on her skin because a
yeah,
quick mist is not going to be enough if she's this
No.
sensitive.
And
yeah.
you know that cat. She's like fighting a banshee to touch her when I want to do anything like that
Just
to
pin
her.
her, you pin
But
her.
what can I treat it with? I mean, it's just I have to keep her in now. I can't let her out. But
There's
she's
a
a mess.
comment. Well, start with that, and you do have to do that consistently. So start with getting that on her skin. And then also Jen said it sounds like an allergy. She said maybe try some TerraShield in her food or TerraZyme, sorry, TerraZyme in her food. It could be intestinal, and to check with Dr. Rourke. So there's a couple
Yeah,
resources on that.
I would put it in the search on the essential oil
I mean,
vet on
Good
have
help.
any of
Facebook.
you experienced that before?
Not, I
No.
don't. We don't have mosquitoes in California. Oh, not
Oh,
like that.
come on. Are you kidding me?
You have a pond out back, so you have like a
Yeah. They're
mosquito
big enough to
hub.
carry us off.
Yeah.
Oh
They're
dear,
So,
terrible.
um,
the
doing a little
national
bit.
bird.
Yeah, we can do a little bit of searching too with Dr. Rourke. And I think there's she also has a service, if I remember correctly, where you can message her,
Yeah,
reach out to her and tell her what's going on.
Yep.
Um,
there's a
so
Facebook page. I follow her.
Okay. Thanks.
Jen said her
Jen,
mom and sister get crusty infections from mosquitoes. That's not a very nice comment, Jen,
but she had a good point though. Jen made a comment. I saw it pop up about it could be you need enzymes.
yeah, but the cat eats dry food, I believe, unless you got her on some wet food. Maybe you could
She's on dry.
try giving her a treat once in a while with a little canned food and maybe mix in a little bit of enzyme. How much of an enzyme would you put in a serving for cat food? Anyone?
Pretty
They're
clean.
very small. So
Yeah, it's like I use the probiotics. We use Petaflora, I think it's called. We give I think we call it kitty crack. So it's basically, so I just sprinkle it. In fact, they won't eat the food until I season it. So I usually will sprinkle, I'll open up
You wait.
I put a little bit of the Terrazyme in the powder, and I just, just like salt.
okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
For cats, you want to start small.
Well, we got
Yeah.
a few resources on this then, Pudge. We'll work on that and
Then
see.
help me, Mandy.
First thing you're going to do though is you're going to try getting the TerraZyme or the Terra Shield with coconut oil between her shoulder blades.
Pure
Yeah.
oil.
Okay.
So two more things. We want to talk next week about chronic pain and injuries and pain. So Amanda's going to present next week, and we got to do the raffle.
We got the
So,
raffle. Yes. So, all
okay.
right. So thank you everyone who joined us. This was good conversation. Please take care of your fur babies. And Jen, thank you. Jen said, by the way, half a capsule if we use one of the regular Terrazymes. Otherwise, we can see what Valerie's got. All right. So I am going to, let me make sure I'm ready to go here. All right. I am going to share my screen. And we are going to raffle off. Oh, do you want to tell them what we are?
Yes. The prize tonight is cedarwood, which is really beneficial for cats and dogs and other pets if you've got farm animals. But
Cedarwood's good to put on there if you want to make a quick little spray their bedding. especially if you live in a woodsy area. Get some cedar wood on their beds to help with little buggies, and it's also very calming for them. So it's a nice smell. And also, it's funny. I have to throw this out. Guaico wood. If anyone has not used it, that is like
No, not with my pets. Oh,
cedar wood's like big brother. So, but cedar wood's
okay.
a beautiful oil to use with pets, very safe. So, okay, I'm going to share my screen. Actually, I'm going to stop the recording.